How's it going, everyone? As you are coming in, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Um, please make sure if you're not muted, please make sure you are muted. Um, and yeah, so we can just hear clearly, so everybody can hear clearly. So this is Digital Crafts cybersecurity Q&A with our instructor, Gareth. I'm going to, how the agenda is going to go be laid out a little bit. Um, I'll show you the agenda real quick. So I will go over like introducing you to digital crafts and like what we are about, some little basic information about digital crafts. But this time is specifically for you to ask your questions to get better understanding of cybersecurity, about our cybersecurity program. And we want to give this time to you. And so with that said, if you have any questions, even beforehand, feel free to start putting them in the chat. And then once we get to the Q&A portion, we will answer those questions. Or, or you can, once we get there, if there's no questions in the chat, then, you can answer them at that time. But yeah, so we'll just get into it. I'm excited for this time and excited for you guys to, chat with Gareth. But nonetheless, what Digital Crafts is, we are a technology bootcamp and training provider, and we are one of the best reviewed in the country for what we do. With that said, we offer live instruction, and so everything is virtual, but what we do it live. So it's not self-paced, but Gareth will be there in the class, and you all will be there in the class, and so it is live, taught live. And our mission, as you can see, is to exist to create a community of builders. So basically, we want to help you bring to life your goals, your hopes, your dreams, and we do that by way of making an opportunity for you to, grow in this area that you have interest in learning. So with that said, why choose Digital Crafts? Our curriculum, as it says, is crafted with beginners in mind. This is one of the questions we get a lot as enrollment coordinators. By the way, my name is Ralph, and I'm an enrollment coordinator with Digital Crafts. If you haven't, you don't know. But our enrollment is crafted with beginners in mind. And one of the questions we get a lot from as enrollment coordinators is, do I need to have extensive experience coming in? And the answer is no. Like, we understand, there's people who are switching careers. And so if this is something that you're thinking about, Digital Crafts, this is part of what we do. And one of the things that you can take advantage of is we have a free intro course for cybersecurity. So if that's something if you want to even start your learning even before class begins, you can go to our website under the bootcamps tab. There's a free learning tab, and you can get started with your free intro course learning with cybersecurity. But like I said, we keep people in mind. Our instructors have years of experience, as you'll see with Gareth pretty soon. And so we combine live instruction with hands-on experience. You will have projects, you will have collaboration with your classmates. And so it's not just you're sitting there taking the instruction, you will be getting hands-on experience with that. Yeah. Real quick, in regards to some frequently asked questions about just like basic information about digital crafts. For cybersecurity, this is about cybersecurity. Finance-wise, the tuition is $15,950. But for this upcoming cohort, which starts in April, and then the one following after that, the tuition is $12,000. Okay, a deposit is required to secure your spot. So as you go through our enrollment process, and I'll get into that a little bit later, as you go into our enrollment process, there's a refundable $250 deposit, which secures your spot in our class. And you can apply easily on our website and get that process started. We do have financing available for students. There's different ways you could pay the class. I won't go into much depth of this, but because like I said, I want to keep this for like the Q&A for cybersecurity. But if you want to pay, the options to pay for the class, you can either pay it up front. You can go to financing route, and we have a third party lender that you can go through if you choose to do so. And we have a 4 installment payment plan available for the class that you can take advantage of. Like I said, our classes are built with beginners in mind. We have the understanding, so you can come in even if you don't know anything about cybersecurity, and you'll get extensive learning about that. And also career support. We do have we try to make career support as robust as we can. We hold mock interviews. We also have career talks where you'll learn about resume tips and tricks, how to build out your resume, how to build out your online presence on LinkedIn, your job search tips and tricks, etc. And our career services is there available throughout this entire time, throughout this entire process. We do tell students to expect for a full-time job search with the success team. You're not going to be going about it alone. We can't guarantee a job for you or apply for a job or look for the job for you. But what we do on our end, we work with, we develop employee relationships, and we do everything on our end to create opportunities and for students to be able to network with those employers. With that said, I know more people came in, so if you came in, we're going to get into the Q&A after I introduce your instructor. So if you have any questions beforehand, feel free to put that in the chat. And once we get to the Q&A portion of this time, we'll answer those questions as we go. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to cybersecurity. Why you guys are truly here. Gareth is the instructor for cybersecurity. I am not going to be reading this entire thing, but he has an extensive background. There we go. I had to move that. So there's a lot of acronyms, especially in the second paragraph, that I have no idea, but Gareth can probably go into a little bit more about it.
Good.
But one thing about cybersecurity is that I know of is that one of the foremost sought certifications that is that CompTIA Security Plus certification and taking that exam. And Gareth comes from that background, that he has an extensive background in that. And so you're getting someone who understands and knows about that exam and what it takes to get that certification. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you all to Gareth, and I'm going to kind of shut him out.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Hey, everyone. Great to see you all. Glad you all came. Thanks for coming. Yeah, it's funny. You look at that slide there, and there's that wall of text and what have you. What that means is I've just been doing it for a while. Despite my youthful appearance, I've been in IT for a long time. I started actually as an electrical engineer. I used to make micro circuits and things for Motorola cell phones and things like that. And then when I was in that job, I sort of learned about computers, and then I started doing computer work. Everything from computer engineering and administrative tasks all the way to the later part of my career, where I was actually the information security officer for a government agency, and I was responsible for running the whole department. So a whole bunch of experience in between, working in different companies. I've been teaching for a while now too, plus side of a decade. One of the things I've gotten to do in teaching cybersecurity is travel a lot. So I get to teach in England. I taught NATO a few times, cybersecurity for the folks that work in NATO. It was kind of a highlight right there. Big banks, Army, Navy, Air Force, and things like this. So I've had an opportunity to see a lot of different folks working in a lot of different areas and different sectors and things, helping them prepare for cybersecurity certifications, or just getting ready for the career. But one of the things that comes out of that is we're all kind of dealing with the same thing. It doesn't really matter, big companies, little companies, military, banking, or everything but furniture stores, right? Everyone's dealing with the same sort of issues in cybersecurity and becoming more and more aware of that stuff. as time goes on, right? Because you've probably seen, and you see on a daily basis on the headlines, right? Cybersecurity issue, cybersecurity issue, cybersecurity issue, to the point where a lot of times we don't even read the stories anymore because we kind of expect to see it, right? It's kind of crazy what this is. So when we talk about cybersecurity, it means a lot of things. It covers a wide range of things, but ultimately what we're trying to secure is information technology, right? There's IT departments, companies have been building out their IT infrastructure for 20 plus years. We went from, hey, this stuff is really neat. And there was a few folks that sort of worked in the corner of the business and they did things with computers, to where we are now and have been in recent years, where the company simply cannot run without IT. I mean, look at us here, right? We're doing a virtual meeting. I mean, this wasn't even a thing, 5 years ago, really. We didn't do this kind of thing, right? So it's a part of our daily lives. It's the way the economy runs. It's the way governments run everything. We can't get away from it. But unfortunately, what's been happening up to this point is we've just been building this stuff and focus on getting it to work. And now a few creative individuals, let's say, have figured out ways that stuff can be exploited. And there's all kinds of crazy stuff that's happening, right? So our job in cybersecurity is to help make all of those things secure. Now, it's not just technology, though, as we'll see in the program. There's a lot of things to this. So when we talk about cyber, and I think you can change the slide now, actually, it gets into the career side of things. There's and just in the United States alone, I think it's like 597,000 jobs or something like that. Crazy numbers. The numbers are crazy. But it doesn't, when you're in cybersecurity, it doesn't mean that you're just hacking, right? That's a small part of what the cybersecurity field means. There are some people that are incredibly technical and focus on those kinds of things. And there are others that have an innate ability to lead, and they run programs and they create programs, and then everything in between. So the field is really, really broad, and that's why you see numbers like that. It's everything from folks that are auditing, folks that are writing policies and procedures, people that are hacking, people that are defending networks, knowing how to program in a safe and secure way, right? Computer programs and those kinds of things. So the field is really, really, really broad, which is great because there's a place for everyone, really, at the end of the day, right? Now, the other thing that's happening is we've seen these stories start to trickle in the news about cybersecurity issues. And there seems to be more and more and more and more and more, right? The trend lines are like this, and they're projected to keep going like this before we figure this out, because the problems are so broad and so deeply rooted into the way companies run. I mean, it's not great to hear that, but as a professional working in the field, what that means is, these jobs are going to be around for a while, right? And that's a good thing. We'd like to see things that are going to be sticking around, despite what they say about the economy and recessions and things like this as well. Companies simply cannot afford to cut corners on cyber. And so usually the one department that the organization is still spending money on tends to be cybersecurity. So that works for us well. That means these are stable jobs. You want to change the slides again? I think we're ready for the next one there. Ralph, thanks so much. So what you see in the DigitalCrafts program is that it reflects that broad set of skills that's needed to be successful in cybersecurity. Now, we're going to talk a lot about what it means. We're going to talk about cybersecurity in general. We're talking about what a program looks like, what the day-to-day tasks look like, some of the theory behind stuff, some of the stuff we're going to do, but it's very much rooted in doing it, right? The objective is for everyone to come out the other end of the program with confidence and some experience working on some of these things, actually getting to do it. Surprisingly enough, working on some of this stuff in the lab is one of the best ways to gain experience in doing some of it. And that's what the program is really designed to do. So while we'll talk about the theory, because it's really important, we're then going to take that and apply it in some practical sense, or I'll try to convey it in some relatable way based on my own experience with dealing with some of these things. So it's less abstract and much more tangible and useful. So we'd spend a lot of time doing labs. We've got a lab environment we can work on that's online. Also, there's a requirement, kind of a soft requirement for you to have a powerful enough computer where we can build a virtual lab and I can walk you through creating some of these things and setting some of the stuff up and playing and exploring with some of this technology in the short term so you can learn the concepts and learn how to do it, but in the long term so that you have the ability to continue to learn and expand your skills and experience by being able to build the environment yourself. So there's split into 8 modules we're going to see here. The whole program is split into these logical chunks. Let's take a look. If you don't mind switching the slide again there. It's broken down into these pieces. So this is really how this whole thing breaks down. We start the program. First couple of days, we're going to talk about, how do we get here? What are we doing? Where is this going to go? And we'll sort of quickly touch on some of the broad topics for cyber in general and sort of the program and what have you. And then we jump into operating systems. So the first thing we have to do is get familiar with the Windows operating system and some of the Windows technologies that organizations depend upon, Active Directory and some of the infrastructure services that oftentimes run on Windows. And then we're going to jump in, take a look at Linux, and we'll get familiar with Linux. We'll touch on a few other operating systems too, briefly while we're in there. Then we're going to switch and focus on networking and understand what that means and what that looks like and the components of a network, as well as network addressing and some of the technologies associated with there. And that'll extend upon what we learn about with operating systems. Then we'll switch and we start learning about cloud. And cloud is a big part of what folks are doing. People are running their IT infrastructure on AWS and Azure and things like that. We'll talk about programming, applications, some of the issues with software and how those come into light. We'll talk about offensive security. Everyone likes that one. That's the hacky kind of stuff. We get to use tools and break things, break into stuff and things like that as well. But we're going to spend time talking about the defensive side of things as well. Because interestingly enough, folks that are hiring cybersecurity professionals, they want to hire people that are going to help them keep the network safe and secure, right? So that's what you're going to see a lot of the job descriptions help us identify where our vulnerabilities are and which ones are the scary vulnerabilities and the things that we can do in order to stay aware of what's going on in our environment, or if we've been breached, or how we can recover systems that have been destroyed and things like that, right? So we'll be talking about that in defensive security. Then we'll talk about cyber operations, which is what an IT program, a cybersecurity program looks like, and the elements of the program and how we leverage some of these tools and technologies in order to build a safe and secure environment. And then at the end, based on all of those things that we've learned, we're going to sort of focus and channel that to understand what the Security Plus exam looks like, and go through the official material for the Security Plus exam, so that you can get an idea of what the exam looks like, so an idea of what the questions look like, and what it would take to be ready to sit the exam. You get a voucher in the program that gives you the opportunity to schedule it, based on your own readiness. Some folks will jump into it sooner than others, but the voucher will let you take the exam. It gives 100% off voucher essentially. So now we'll be touching on a whole bunch of things throughout the program. So while at the end, we're going to focus on Security Plus, you're going to learn a lot about different things. You're going to learn a lot about networking. You're going to learn a lot about Linux, some of the security analyst type subject matter. So, and those things kind of relate to other different certifications. And so some of you in the class may decide that you want to pursue some of those as well. And you should be in a good place where you'd be ready to go for that if you wanted to. But the program's going to focus on making sure everyone's ready, or at least knows what it's going to take to be ready in order to sit that Security Plus exam. So that's the program kind of in a nutshell a little bit. But I think that's all I got as far as slides, Ralph. I don't know if there's any more. Yeah, there we go. Hey, who's got questions? We can use the chat, or turn your mics on or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. If you have a question, feel free to use it. You can use the chat, or you can raise your hand, you can say it out loud. We definitely want this to be engageful. I do have a question real quick, for just a primer question that if as people are getting theirs together. Now, is there any specific equipment that one would need for this class?
Well, the thing is that what's really good is being able to build your own labs. Like the best way to learn this stuff is to be able to install the operating system and sort of learn how these things interact with each other. So it really is good to have a fairly recent computer, something that's got a newer like a Core i5 processor for those of you that are into your hardware. A ton of memory, maybe 8 or 16 gigs of memory, ideally, a lot of storage. There is some guidance I think that we have published that identify, the ideal sort of computer to have coming into the program. But the reason why such a powerful computer is needed is because we can use virtualization platforms. Like we'd like to use VirtualBox because it's free, but you can create and set up and install multiple operating systems that will run on your computer at the same time. And in order to do that, you got to have a pretty powerful system. So it's a worthwhile investment. Hopefully you've got something like that already. But yeah, it's definitely something that we urge and encourage you to have ready to go. Let's see. Elizabeth says, if I'm stuck on a concept, where can I get additional help? Well, that's a good question. One of the advantages to going through this stuff together live in the class in this scenario, and I definitely encourage this when we're in the class, is to ask the questions and to explore the concepts in depth. We have enough time in the program where we're not really racing. Sometimes the cybersecurity subject matter is really condensed into almost ludicrous timeframes where you're blowing through slides and concepts like crazy. We'll really get to explore that together. So my hope is that you could bring that up in class and we could explore it together. We also use things like Slack, where we have channels where you can post questions and either I'd have an opportunity to respond to it or other classmates could respond to it, and things like that. So, it's definitely not, I definitely don't feel like you're going to be sort of on your own, sort of fighting for some of these answers. You should have the opportunity to ask so that we can explore that together. Because generally, if you have a question about it, I'm sure others do too. It's aimed at Security Plus. Yeah, there's be a heavy focus on that Security Plus certification to help everyone be ready for Security Plus, so that you can take that. And the reason why Security Plus is so important, it's been around about 20 years, which is really unheard of for certs, for them to even last that long. And there are lots of companies that specifically look for folks that have that credential already. So by being ready for that and being able to obtain that certification, you've got the time and experience that you gained from being in the program for so long, plus the credential, and it can be a great way to get your foot in the door, be qualified, for a position. So that's why we put a lot of emphasis on that. A lot of companies require it, so to help you be successful. What kind of jobs will realistically be qualified after graduating? That's a good question too. Some folks are going to come into this and they've got some experience. So sometimes we get some folks that are in IT already, and they're like, well, I'm in IT, but I want to get into cyber. I want to learn about cyber because I want to get somewhere else, right? So that person's going to be in a different position career-wise than somebody that's maybe, maybe you're doing something completely different. Maybe you're working in a hotel or something, right? And you want to get into cyber. So that's where the Security Plus certification can help a lot, showing that credential. But the thing that helps really more than anything is that there's just this burning need for folks, right? And it's really hard for companies to find folks that have any experience, that really understand it at all. So there are a lot of entry-level positions, security analysts, even system administration to a certain degree, systems analysts, security operations center folks, where organizations, especially ones that have good cyber programs, they've got a lot of the steps, the work, the things that they need folks to do is pretty well defined. They just don't have the people that have enough awareness to be able to plug in, right? So by the time you come out of the program, having gotten your hands on all of this technology, getting in that interview and being able to convey how much work you've done and the tools that you've seen and the stuff that you've done, that you could sit into those positions on day one and be ready to go, right? And then from there, the sky's the limit. It's just land in that first position. But it really is focused on helping everyone get ready so that they could get into at least an entry-level cyber position. And then from there, you can build on, But exactly which one you'd be ready for. Now, some folks might be able to get into sort of a tier 2, tier 3 kind of job. Others maybe are just looking for that starting point. But definitely the focus is to get people ready for the workforce, right? It's very focused in that way.
Hey, Gareth, before we get to Michael's question, there was one that came up earlier as well. they from I think Samara is her name. What would the average day look like for a student in this program?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So in the morning, we're going to go through we're going to go through slides. We're going to talk a lot about concepts. There'll be some days there'll be some demos and things. We'll demo some of the concepts to make them more tangible, right? Kind of, show me as opposed to tell me. So a lot of concepts and stuff in the morning, and then we'll break for lunch, and then we come in the afternoon and we'll go through and do some of the hands-on pieces, which would be the lab work, or the stuff we'll do together. Some of the stuff I'll work through with you together. Like I'll say, hey, let's walk through this together, and I'll show you on my computer while you do it on yours. There are some challenges and tasks and like capture the flag kind of gamification things that we have as well. So the afternoon is kind of the hands-on piece, and the morning is more of the lecture. Mike was asking the name of the course is the program. It's a cybersecurity program split into those 8 modules. We'll be meeting just like this with Zoom. There's an online portion. It's all DigitalCrafts branded stuff, but there are different labs and things you can do there in the online program, and a lot of stuff that I've developed over my years of teaching that I'm going to walk you through and build, right? And so you're going to be building and setting up your own operating systems and your own network infrastructure. And we're going to be installing the firewall together and creating the rules in the firewall and testing the traffic. So a lot of that stuff is custom curated that we're going to go through together, and I'm going to walk you through and show you how to do of your own accord, so that you have your own copy of these things that you can explore, during the program, after the program, and everything in between.
Garrett, real
Yeah.
quick, I'm gonna kind of tag team with you on this one.
Yeah.
There's a follow-up to how many days per week and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
the course of the cybersecurity program is 16 weeks.
Yeah.
And it is Monday through Friday. It's 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's 35 hours of live instruction per week. You have an hour lunch break, of course. And so that's how much it goes with the length and the time that you can expect.
Yeah.
We do tell students to expect even a little bit more time outside of class if you have anything you need to work on outside of it. So per week,
Yeah.
maximum, it could be like 45, 50 hours. I don't know if depending on the type of assignments or projects that you have. So this is the boot camp structure is a big commitment. It's a big time commitment. It could be challenging and a rigorous process for some, but we have the support system here to help students. You have cohort managers who will be checking in on you and stuff like that, because we understand the process of it. So great question, Michael.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, Elizabeth is asking, what do we show other than the certificate of completion that you'll have? One of the things that we'll work on together as we go through the exercises in the labs is to try to capture that stuff in a way that we can create what I affectionately call a prove it document. So one of the things, and don't forget, I've been the hiring manager many times, on the IT side, hiring folks coming in. But one of the things that is important to be able to show, right, is what you've done. Sometimes folks have a hard time understanding what did you complete. And so by using things like screenshots and descriptions and things, you build essentially a portfolio that will show all of the technologies and tools and the things that you completed through the program. So when you say, hey, I went to this 16-week program, here's some of the technology that I use, the hiring manager can look at that and say, oh, look, they spent some time working on Active Directory. Look, they built a security incident and event management system. Here they are, they built a firewall and they tweaked and changed the firewall rules, and they use these offensive tools, and they use this, security vulnerability scanning software to scan the environment. So they can see some of that stuff, which hopefully is the same kinds of things that they have in their environment. And they can say, gee, this burst could kind of plug in and be productive from day one, right? So we'll be working on that. The assignments and the submissions that you create will sort of double purpose. One, to sort of show that you're completing the work, but also you can reuse that to build your own portfolio of types, right? You're not really creating websites and things, but you can still show all that you've done. That's the hope. So there we go. That's the course name. Thank you for help with that. Any other questions?
Yeah. If anyone has any other questions, I'm gonna take a little break and kind of give you the process, the admissions process that you can expect coming into DigitalCrafts. And if you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat as well. So the process to apply, if you're interested, and even getting more information about the like the cost, etc., um, you can go onto our website. I'll put the chat in there. I'll put the link in the chat as well. But you go right directly to our website, and you can start the application process there or informational call process there. And if it's a app, if you're applying or if it's an informational call, you will be connected with one of our enrollment coordinators. Now, in the process to get into enrolled, you complete the application. You'll have an admissions call with one of our enrollment coordinators. It's about 15-20 minute call, and it's to get to know you a little bit more, your hope, in the program and understand you, but also to set any expectation for the program, and clarify any questions regarding costs, etc. Going into the program. And so after you, and then also there's an admissions assessment. It's a 15-question assessment. 10 out of 15 is passing. So once you complete the assessment and the admissions call, there will be an admissions decision given to you, sent to you via email. And if you're accepted, there will be a link for you to enroll into the class. And you will click that link to enroll, and there's a refundable $250 deposit that is due to secure your spot in the class. Okay. To Michael's question, yes, we do have beginner courses, and those are listed on our website as well under the
Yeah.
boot camps tab. It says start free learning. These are beginner courses, but intro courses, and it sets you up a great foundation for what you're going to be learning going deeper into the class as well. And those are free. You can start those at any time before the class even begins. And if you, like I said, if you have any more questions in regards to career services, etc., I will put a link in there for like an informational call that we can do later as well.
Yeah.
But Kim has a question too.
Yeah. There's the intro to cybersecurity course, the self-paced course. And then knowing how to code, recode, or code get hard. That one comes up a lot. No, I mean, you don't. I mean, it's definitely going to help, and we're going to be looking at it together. We're going to be taking a look at some, scripting, and we'll touch on some of those things. I mean, the goal is not to be an application developer or anything like that. But you will have enough familiarity with it that you could look at code and get a sense of what's going on there. Now, your ability to sort of sit down with a blank sheet of paper and create some long, elaborate script of application programming, that would be different. But like I mentioned before, there's such a broad field. There's so many tools that you can use in order to help build an environment and keep it safe and secure. Knowing how to code is not required. I mean, it's definitely helpful. I'm not going to say that it's not. And folks that are really, really good at this, especially hacking, right? They know how to code as well. That comes with time, though. But if you're not a coder, you can still be a cybersecurity professional. And I've worked with many of them in my career, right? They're great cybersecurity people, have had very successful careers. And you put them in front of source code, and they're going to say, oh, I don't know how to do this. We need to get someone else that can do this, right? Because remember, you're going to be working in a cybersecurity team. Right. And so the different folks in the team are going to have different specialties, and you're going to bring your skills and awareness to the team as well. And maybe someone that's coming into cybersecurity that was a coder in their previous life. Right. And they're going to be the ones that do all the source code stuff. So don't let that put you off if you're not, an elite coder or anything like that, And recommend getting other certs. Yeah. The thing that can happen, with there's different approaches. Some people really sort of catch the bug to get those credentials early, and they chase through those and they get more than one. It's definitely not gonna hurt. You don't want to get too carried away though, especially if you're getting started. You want enough to be able to get you into a job. If you get really carried away with lots and lots and lots of certifications that are all over the place, it can be hard for an employee to really understand what is it that you want to do? If you're certified across the board and like everything you could possibly get from security analyst to hacker and leadership and everything in between, all right, it can be confusing. So the other thing that can happen too is a lot of the great cybersecurity programs in the bigger companies, they'll pay for you to get those. Once you get in, they'll say, hey, we need you to get this thing, or we want you to get that thing, or we've got these vouchers for you to go to training. So it's not necessary to get tons of them. But like the security analyst certification is a good one. That's another CompTIA certification. There's a Linux certification called Linux Essentials, which is quite inexpensive. from LPI. We're definitely going to be covering the material that would help you be prepared for that. So you can show that that you're familiar with Linux. Network Plus is another one that would potentially be in scope. Some folks really enjoy the networking piece, others less so, but we'll be covering a lot of the network material, and you can show that you're familiar with networks and Linux. You understand the security concepts with Security Plus, and maybe security analytics. Those things come into play as well. But the thing that's important to focus on is what the job requirements list. If it says we need Security Plus, that would be one to really prioritize. If you're thinking about getting other ones, it might be useful to add those on as a just sort of supplement and expand out. Hopefully I answer your questions. Hopefully I didn't I tend to over answer things sometimes.
Hey, Alfonso, I see your hand
Yeah.
raised. You can open your mic and go ahead and ask your question.
Type it. Yeah.
Like say, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes. So how's everyone doing? I've been talking to, when there was a career comment, they was doing the job, the fair and stuff for understanding cybersecurity.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do the intro course because I do have a background in cybersecurity as in education.
Cool.
Because I have a master's degree.
Cool.
So if you first beginning, so certification is not the key thing when you're trying to at least get your foot in the door in the entry level, but it does kind of help, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, because you think that from a hiring manager, a lot of folks that are hiring folks in the cyber, honestly, a lot of them don't fully understand either. Or there's a human resources department that's responsible for finding candidates that they can give to the cybersecurity team to hire. So those credentials are a fantastic way to show that you've obtained or you've demonstrated, a well-known sort of baseline of knowledge in cyber that would sort of point to the fact that you'd be successful, right? It's a way for them to tell, it's like you got the official endorsement, like the holographic sticker on the official merchandise kind of thing. You've got that credential from the third party, which helps them justify bringing you in to talk, right? It's the other thing that comes into play with that too is a lot of organizations that are running programs now. That it's becoming more and more regulated. There's more laws that dictate what the programs look like and what they have in place. And so a lot of companies have to not only say we have a cybersecurity program, but they have to also show that the staff that they have that are in the cybersecurity roles are qualified to do cyber. And one of the ways they do that, there's two ways, or one is formal education. The other, it's industry certifications. And they can say, of the staff we have, 80% of them have a cybersecurity certification. In the government space, especially the Department of Defense, some of those positions literally require you to have specific certs. The one that's the most common across all of their cyber positions is Security Plus, because it's a foundation. It covers a very broad foundation of knowledge, and from there you can get more, leadership or technical or what have you. So it's something that's looked at more and more. And certification is nothing new. I mean, you go to get your car repaired at the car shop, the mechanics are certified, right? Human resource specialists, they get certified in human resources. Project managers are certified. If you're a teacher and you teach in the school, you have to be a certified teacher, right? The certification concept is something that's very broad and across the entire industry, the entire, workforce, IT and everything in between. So it's not going away anytime soon, that's for sure. We've got a question here about the interview process. It can depend on what you're getting into, but generally speaking, so there's two parts that come into play when you're hiring a candidate, at least for a good organization. One, cultural fit. Are you going to work well here? Do you have the personality that's going to fit well in our environment? So there's going to be a bunch of questions around that. Then there will be some technical questions. The extent of those technical questions really depends on the role, but there'll be some things to get a sense. You've got this certification. If we ask you questions in that area, does it show that you really understood that? Sometimes what you'll find in those interviews too, those technical questions, they might purposely ask you some stuff that's really hard that they don't expect you to know. Now, maybe you do, and that'll be great. But another part of that is to see how you respond to something that they know you don't know the answer to, or they'll do that on purpose. Because some people will, let's have fake it till you make it kind of thing. You don't want to do that in a technical interview, because it's one of the things in cyber is keeping things up and running and safe and secure and available, right? And so, winging it or just figuring it out on the fly, or not recruiting the help of others, or admitting if you don't know something, that can be a big red flag. So there's a lot of things that happen in that interview where they're trying to get a sense, well, do you have sort of the basic aptitudes? Do you fit in here? And how do you respond, when you're put in an awkward situation? Because you're going to be in awkward situations all the time in cyber, that's for sure, sort of working in the moment, you can't make this stuff up sometimes. Because it's not just hacking. Remember, it's not always just hacking. Organizations, you got employees sometimes are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. You've got systems that have to be set up in very specific ways based on different requirements that are outlined either through vendor requirements or external laws and regulations. I mean, there's so many pieces to what the program looks like. It's not just the matrix wallpaper, and a black hooded sweater, and using Kali Linux to hack stuff. That's just a really small part of the overall program, and we're going to be touching on all those things. So you'll see that, and should have should be really comfortable with what it feels like to work in cyber and the kinds of things that happen there, so that when you're sitting in the interview, you got a better sense of where those folks are coming from that are asking you all those questions.
Awesomeness. This is going really well. We have less than 20 minutes. So like I said, once again, I just want to interject. If you have any questions, definitely ask as we begin to wrap up our time here. But I do want to do another little break so Gareth can catch his breath.
I can talk. That's why I teach.
Yeah. But so once again, if you are interested, you can go to our website directly on there. I do want to bring up, we do have scholarships that you can utilize as well. We have automatic You Belong in Tech scholarships for Black, Latin American, or women individuals. And then we also have a builder scholarship that you can apply for as well. The builder scholarship is not stackable on the You Belong in Tech scholarship. So if you already get the automatic You Belong in Tech scholarship, you are pretty much good to go with that. But if you don't qualify for that one, you can apply for the builder scholarship and utilize those funds. I believe it's up to $1,000 or $1,500 that you can get from that. And I'll put that link in the chat here as well. Real quick, does anyone have any other questions? I do have a question, Gareth, real quick, about the labs that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Can you go a little bit into what that looks like for the students in the class?
Yeah. So there's some lab material that you can complete through a browser. And so the way that works is you get sort of a playground. There'll be a scenario. And you'll have to say interact with a web page, or you'll have the ability to access a computer system or something, and you'll have to analyze or understand what that system does. And there's a series of questions that you have to answer. It'll sort of open-ended questions. You have to explore the environment to determine what the answers are, right? And then you can submit those in there to sort of progress through the tasks. And so it's part game, part learning. And then the other part is the stuff that we'll build together. It's important that everyone is comfortable with IT. And so what can happen many times when you just work in an environment where everything's sort of been curated and is ready to go for you, you lose that sense of what it means to build stuff. And remember, cybersecurity is, securing IT. So understanding what IT looks like is important. So we're going to build the stuff. Sometimes you find yourself in a position where you have to straight up put in place the things that are needed from a technical standpoint to make things secure. And so we're going to be installing operating systems and configuring networks and changing rules and setting up security tools and setting those up to grab things so that we can analyze them and those kinds of things as well. So there's a whole piece where we're going to be building this stuff from scratch in our own environment. That's the sort of requirement to have a powerful computer. So there's a mix, right? We're going to be talking things through. We'll have some discussions. We'll explore some stuff together. There's questions, throughout the lecture content to try to get a sense and sort of trigger your imagination a little bit. Hopefully through the process of building some of these things together, the goal is that you start to sort of catch on to what the process is like, and then you may see some things that interest you, and you spend your time building and exploring these things as well, because you can. You're not dependent upon subscribing, to some, sort of a platform to learn how to do this stuff. You can build it yourself. You can download the tools. You can set it up in your environment. So there's going to be a mix of both of those. Some of you will be really familiar with building it. Some and will enjoy that. Some less so, and will prefer the online lab environment, whatever. So we're trying to put a little bit of everything in there, but still the focus is on the doing part. So that when you're sitting in your first job and these things come up, you're kind of like, whoa, I know what that is. I've done that. I know what you're talking about. I've seen that. I know that tool because we used that when we were going through the program together. That's the goal, is that you don't sort of sitting in the job like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's going to happen, but you've kind of been there, done that. So you can be effective for them, but also, you can have that confidence that you can be successful in the interviews and things, Yeah. So, it really, being comfortable with a computer is really important, right? If you struggle to sort of use your email, that's going to be a tough starting point. But it really does start with from the ground level. Like, we talk about things conceptually, what the IT department looks like, what they're trying to do, what this does, why this is important, and sort of build off of that. You're going to want to be familiar with, what is an operating system? What are the components of a computer? When we talk about the network, what are some of the things we're going to see on the network? We're going to be talking about all those things, but spending some time, reading about that, even watching technical reviews, YouTube videos where folks will review different operating systems and applications. You can even watch videos on folks doing vulnerability scans. Some of the software tools that come into play there to get a familiarity with it. But like Ralph even said, we really are focused on helping folks get from wherever it is they are now to being familiar. We're going to start with the ground rules, and then from there, it's all cumulative, right? We're going to start talking about operating systems, and then from there, we're going to build on the pieces that sort of comprise cyber. So when we get towards the end, those things at the end are going to build on everything that we've learned from the start. So I don't want to say, you sort of come as you are, but you can come as you are. And then we're going to try to work to get you to where you need to be, where you can land that first job, But you got to be comfortable with a computer, you got to be comfortable jumping in the Zoom session, the applications and things you use on your computer, configuring your phone. If you have configured, like the wireless network at home and these kinds of things, if you're that person that's running the cables and things, you're going to be in a good place to start, I hope that answers your question.
Awesomeness. Do you have any other questions at all? Okay, legit. It's been really awesomeness. And if there's any other questions, just feel free to put in the chat. I don't want to rush you all off or anything like that. But I just want to I want to take the chance and something piggyback off a question from earlier about I think it was career or something like that. I can't remember. But one thing that we do here, our career services, we do offer career services or student success, and the plan for this cybersecurity program is we're going to help you create an attractive resume. So you will have career talks that are required for you to complete. These take place usually during the lunch hour, but they're also on demand that you could do on your own time as well. So and these talks range from building up a strong resume, building up a good solid LinkedIn profile, because that's something a lot of employers look at, to going forward now. Yeah. Also, Gareth talked about labs, and so figuring out a way to put that make that like a portfolio type thing to show off the work that you have been doing in the class. Same thing with interviewing and job search. Those are other career talks that are going to be in there. But you're going to be with the success team, with the career service team. They're going to help build tools to showcase your skills to employers, of course. And then also they're going to be showcase groups and events for you to be able to network in. And then the plan is also to bring in guest speakers from the industry to provide their wisdom for you within the class. Alfonso, you have a question? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, like say somebody the first time really get into cybersecurity and they're in their class, and for the first week they feel really overwhelmed and then they kind of fall behind. Is there a way of having somebody that really help them focus and get over that, how you say, that syndrome of, oh, I'm not gonna make it?
That's a good question. I mean, you're right. It can be intimidating and overwhelming, right? Gosh, I've been teaching this for a while now. I've seen it. So the sessions or the course sessions are recorded, for one. Sometimes what'll happen is some students will want to just kind of take it all in the lecture and then spend some of the extra time to go through and sort of rewatch the lectures and things. There's enough time in the class where we can explore the things together. I mean, there's going to be a time where you feel overwhelmed. You just kind of push through it, right? And try to keep up as best you can. You've got the resources again, career services and the support folks that can help you out. We can explore these things together. And if there's an extra time that we need to take, potentially, we can do additional, sort of study sessions and things potentially. I don't generally feel like that's gonna be required, but I mean, listen, my job in the program as the instructor is to help everyone be successful. So, I mean, if you end up 3 weeks into the program or 4 weeks or 8 weeks into the program, and then all of a sudden, you're sort of overwhelmed or becomes aware that you're falling behind or that's going to the wrong place. I mean, that's on me, right? My job is to make sure that everyone's sort of keeping up to with the stuff and that we're conveying the stuff in a relatable way, and you're able to get through the labs and things. That's what the whole program is built around, your success. You've got the student success team and live instruction to help you, so that as these questions come up or you feel stuck, you can say, I feel stuck. I don't get this. I don't understand how this is coming together. And we can sort of take the time together to come back and explore that together. Or you can message me directly and ask the questions, and we, that kind of stuff. I mean, that's what this program is designed to do, because I think, to your point, some of the programs are built to go really, really quickly, and you either keep up or you sort of fall behind, and there's really no recourse for you to catch up. And this is really not supposed to work like that at all. There's different resources that we'll talk about in the class that you could use, YouTube, channels and folks on LinkedIn and just other places, other folks that describe these concepts that you can use for additional supplemental perspective and insight to help you with the concepts and stuff. We'll talk about those for sure. But I think between all those things, you'll find yourself in a good spot. I mean, that's the goal. If one thing though, I will say, if you're working 4 jobs and you're going to jump into this boot camp that's all day, every day, 5 days a week for 16 weeks, and you think you're going to work like the night shift plus the morning shift plus come to class, well, you're setting yourself up for failure there. I can't overcome that, So if you can't really commit the time to do the full-time program because you've got so many other things going on, I mean, that's something you've got to sort of soul search on your own to see, can I really devote the time that's needed to keep up with the stuff and do the labs, But outside of that, it's built to help you be successful, So.
And I also say for Alfonso's question is that we have cohort managers. You will have a cohort manager. Your cohort manager does check on students just to see where you're at, in the program, and because our staff, trust me, we understand, the process that students go through and how daunting it can be or feel. So we don't shy away from that fact at all. We don't shy away from it. So we do have things in place to help students as well. We have
Thank
five
you.
more. No problem, Alfonso. Awesomeness. We have about five more questions. I mean, not five more questions, but but 5 more minutes. You all have been really, really awesome. I put
Yeah,
in
love the
the
questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's been great. I put in the chat once again, if you want to schedule informational call with one of our enrollment coordinators, or if you feel ready to apply, you can doing that. As you see on the screen here, you can also email us at hello@digitalcrafts.com, and you will be connected with one of our enrollment coordinators, and Gareth's email is there as well.
Yeah.
So if you have any, is there any more questions, anyone?
This is kind of how class goes. You know, this is how I like to teach. You know, we bring the concepts up. Who has questions? You know, it's not like everyone sit quietly while I read the slides to you. It's not that kind of thing. You know, there's slides with content. I have a drawing tablet sitting in front of me here. I have a pencil that I can draw on. We whiteboard stuff. We do diagrams. We highlight things. I demonstrate stuff on the screen. I mean, I'm here to help you learn, and the best way that I can. It's not, you know, we're not going to just be throwing material at you, and you know, you're on it. You know, you're on your own, you're sort of fighting through the material and what have you. It's not that kind of thing, you know. So this kind of gives you a sense of quite the way you're asking the questions, where we use the chat, the boards. I have a pretty fancy drawing tool, it's a little bit more than what Zoom has. That's the way it goes, right? That's the way we go through and explore the stuff. I break the things down as best I can and really sort of, and then try to figure out how those parts come back together so we can really comprehensively understand these things. Many, probably hundreds of students at this point that I've helped obtain certifications, everything from, you know, A+, Linux Essentials, Security Plus, ISA Plus, Pen Test Plus, Ethical Hacking, CISSP, Secure Coding. I mean, I've got all of those certs because I teach all those courses. And so that's, you know, I try to bring as much as I can from my own experience and knowledge and stuff to help you get to a better place and land a job, you know. That's what it comes down to, right? And we'll be forever connected after the fact too. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Awesomeness. This has been great. Thanks so much for everyone who's joined. We appreciate you for coming. Thank you for your questions and making this really engaging. And it's been really awesome to see. Gareth, thank you for all your insight and creating a space to come out and talk to students and potential students. So that's been awesomeness. Once again, if you are ready to apply or you have information, if you have questions, you can go directly to our homepage, and there's a button that says schedule info call. You can do that. You get started that way if you want to. But with that said, thank you for coming, and it was a pleasure meeting you all.
Yeah, look forward to seeing everyone in class.
Awesome. Have a good day, guys.